Right Mark, Callaway Mavrik, Taylormade SIM, Cobra Speedzone King Irons or Ping G710? Which ones and why?
Let's do it.
And let's do it now. Hi everyone, James Robinson here and welcome back to the channel. Today we once again have Mark, the mid-handicap golf. How are you, Mark?
I'm very good, thanks James.
Good, very good, and we have some mid-handicap irons.
We do.
Now I never know kind of why we call them mid-handicap irons. I don't know why I'm making this gesture with my hands, because you can be a mid-handicap because you can't putt, because you can't drive. But generally these irons are designed to help you a little bit more with your game. So we're trying to do today's video a little bit different, aren't we?
Yeah.
So in the past, we'd have these and we'd hit them and we'd look at the numbers and we'd say that one because it performed better.
Yes.
Realistically, these irons are all quite similar.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, Mark, before we even start, you walk into a pro shop, you see all these clubs, they're all a pretty similar price, all a pretty similar loft. We will get into lofts as well because they're interesting. But which one would you go for first on the basis of looks?
If I walked into a shop, went straight up to this bag, the first club I would pick is the black one.
Just primarily because?
Just looking at it, I'm thinking, ooh, what's that?
So pick one of those out, Mark. And they are the Ping.
This is the new G710.
They are the new G710. And is that primarily because it looks different?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, it looks different, it looks interesting. It's fascination.
I mean, in fairness, I've just gone for black wedges as well, and exactly the same reason why. It looks different, looks cool. And I just like them really. If we look at all the rest of the irons, so we've got the Callaway Mavriks, we've got the King SZ Cobras and the Taylormade SIM Max irons. They all look quite similar.
They do. They all look similar. There's some obvious size differences on the base of them here.
Yeah.
So my second choice would probably be this one, although it's chrome and I don't particularly like chrome.
Which one's that?
Just it looks slimmer and therefore more of a gaming kind of.
See, that's interesting because I was holding the camera and then I couldn't tell which one it was until you moved it back. That's the Mavrik. For me, I tested these. I tested the Cobra King SZ Speedzone.
Right.
And what did it for me? You might just flip it around and you might just get a glimpse of that incredible looking top line. That's a bit of bling, isn't it?
It is a bit of bling. It also looks like something you could, I don't know, clean your shoes with or something,
Clean your shoes, man. Brilliant. So I think the next step would be to hit them, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
So are you going to go Ping first because they're the ones you would have picked out?
Yeah, let's go Ping first, and I've got the King Speedzone in my hand, so that'll go second. Perfect.
Right, Mark, so just as you get into hitting them, I would want to talk through lofts. So I've done a little bit of research into lofts.
Yeah.
The Ping 7 iron, we'll go 7. We do have a mixture of sets here, but the Ping 7 iron is a loft of 29.5, whilst it has a length of 37 inches.
Right.
The Taylormade SIM Max has a loft of 28.5, right, and that has a length of 37.25 inches. The Cobra has a loft of 27.5, and that length is 37.25 inches, whilst the Callaway has a loft of 27 and also a length of 37 inches.
Right, so essentially we've got 6 irons down to about 4 irons in old muddy terms.
Realistically, yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why you can't necessarily do these tests on performance that much anymore, because the sets differ, don't they? So if you go into a set of Pings, you know that realistically that, although the Pings are probably the most generous, aren't they?
Yes.
Looking at the loft, so if you go into a set of the Taylormade Sims, you're probably thinking, well, really, that 7 iron is more like a 6 iron, which is more like a 5 iron, more like a hybrid, but could it drive it?
Yes, so as you say, the comparison is difficult. It's a bit across the range. You get the clubs appropriate.
Absolutely.
The ones you like to hit.
And then I could even go into saying, well, the players these, I have to be careful what I say here, but the players these are targeted towards, will half a degree make a difference? Or a big difference?
Yeah.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? Do they have to have, would it make it easier to hit these irons and launch these irons and get them close to the flag if the loft was more generous, such as the Ping?
I think the answer to that is probably yes.
Probably yes, but we'll let you test.
First reaction to this.
Is this the first time you've hit these, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. First reaction to this is nice black frame to the whatever it's called, coloured face.
Should we go with grey?
Yeah.
I really like the look of these. I must have, when I tested them,
It looks nice.
I mean, they're not for me. They're too powerful for me. They're too kind of strong lofted and too big. But I could almost go with a driving iron in one of those or something like that.
And the top line looks nice and thin.
How do you feel about the offset? Say if you were to compare, I mean, I'll tell you what, hit them first, but we'll do some comparisons after.
It's got a fairly big offset on it, hasn't it?
Not the best strike.
Not the best strike at all.
That was better. So that's not a bad spin number either, is it? 6259.
It's quite good.
Carrying at 160, yeah.
Strong lofted iron, yes, that's good.
Felt like a good swing, that one?
Yeah, that was much better.
Oh, beautiful. Those I210s could be out of the bag mark at this rate. But what if we put a cat amongst the pigeons and we throw in the 5-iron?
Okay. Again, looks nice. Good top line. Feels good in the hands.
I mean, that's if the 7-iron's going 160, the 6-iron we could call 170, and then the 5-iron 180.
It's a good match, isn't it?
I was going to say, spinning at 5,300 as well for a 5-iron of that calibre.
Yeah.
This is going to, and interestingly, the one that you've picked off the shelf because you like the look of it, you already feel confident with it, is going to now take some beating, isn't it?
It is. It is. Because it's all about, as you know, confidence over the ball.
Yeah.
So having the right club in your hands is a big help.
Wow. Just going to zoom in on that number for a second.
And when I tried to get after that one, and obviously I did.
And the spin's dropped to 3,600,
Yes,
which
yeah.
you get with a driver sometimes. So, without beating around the bush, I want to see what this can offer now.
Okay.
And this is where these tests are going to differ a little bit, because usually we'd hit about 10 of each, you'd be absolutely cream crackered by the end of it.
Yeah.
But really, we almost know what we need to know for the sake of a test about the G710.
Yep.
Now, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Obviously, if we were fitting you into these irons, we would hit loads more balls and we'd make sure that we're testing for everything. But why are you looking strangely at that?
No, I'm just checking it out.
I like the bling on
little
top.
colour scheme on it.
Yeah?
Little red spots, yellow lines.
Colour scheme's good, isn't it?
Colour scheme's good. Yep. So that's a good starting point.
Unless you really much prefer an all black colour scheme, in which case the colour scheme isn't good.
So this is the 7-iron.
Yeah.
And it definitely looks quite chunky down on the ground.
And interestingly, with the Cobra, the Callaway and the Taylormade, they all have a more professional version or a Pro, and they all have like a Max version or an OS version or something bigger as well. So really good carry distance, slightly low spin but still not bad.
Low spin, yeah.
I'm going to go in saying that sounded better.
It sounded better. It was. It felt a much cleaner shot.
Yeah.
The club went through the ball very nicely. Not much feedback at all.
No?
No.
Did you get the feedback with the ping?
A little bit more than this, but again, it's not. The G710 isn't in the same class as the I210.
No.
For me, for
No.
you know, the feedback element of it.
So totally strike dependent, obviously.
Yes, yeah, because that was a poorer strike. For me, it's just a bit too heavy.
Okay. And every time we do club testing, it always comes back to weight for you, doesn't it? Which is a big factor.
It's just a little bit too heavy, and I'm not too sure where the club is.
Yeah.
Therefore,
That could come down to the shaft, KBS shaft in there. Known for being slightly heavy. Obviously the G710 has the AWT, Advanced Weight Tech, so you're going to get a lighter shaft in the long irons. Can't complain with the performance though.
No, performance is very good. It's very solid. Yeah, that's a good club.
What if we again, because it's not just about 7 irons anymore, is it? If we throw 5 iron. Now this is where you might find the shaft too heavy, because obviously the AWT and the ping is a big help for you, isn't it?
Yeah. So.
And this is where people say you can't test them unless they have the same shafts in, but Cobra don't make that shaft, the AWT, so you can't test them with the same shafts in. The technology is what the technology is.
Right, definitely.
That's a fantastic golf swing, Mark. MID handicap. You know what comments are coming, don't you? You know
what comments will come in.
Yeah.
I am a mid handicap.
How's Mark off 15? He's not off 15. Mark's a pro that you've got in. He's a ringer. He's not.
He's off 13, James.
If you want to see how much of a ringer he is, watch the video we've just filmed with the driver.
Exactly. Again, I mean, it's really easy to hit.
Yeah.
Really easy to hit.
I'd be struggling to split them numbers wise. I think it would come down to preference.
Yeah, definitely. And it depends what sort of golfer you are.
Yeah.
As an individual, I much prefer the feel and thinking as though I'm trying to have some input to the strike myself. This definitely is minimal input from me other than swinging it.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to swing, it's really easy to hit.
Yep.
So I do like that a lot.
So, I'll tell you what, Mark, we've done ping and we've done Cobra. One thing which I would like to kind of mention a little bit is it might depend on the marketing as well. So ping, for me, do kind of market themselves more towards people of your era. So kind of your ping have been around a long time, your Westwoods, your Miguel Angel Jimenez, whereas the Cobra, Ricky, Bryson, much bolder colours, they might go down people more like my kind of generation or even younger than me. What about if we threw in the mix the Taylormade SIM? Because the Taylormade SIM drivers and woods have been fantastic this year.
They have, yes.
So why would the irons not be any different?
No, definitely. Now, of course, the Taylormade, the SIM has continued with this sort of bridge across the back, which is obviously for little things to run rapidly across to avoid getting their feet wet or something.
I think it's stability, but...
Oh, okay.
And this is one thing where the G710 stands out massively for me in that it's not a cast-off of the driver brand. And this is something which I've touched on in videos before.
No, that's true.
The SIM, as soon as the SIM driver goes out of fashion, it becomes superseded by the SIM 2 or the M10, the irons go. Whereas the G710, they live on because the driver is totally... Obviously the Ping G410 irons, as soon as the G410 family is superseded, there's something else.
Yeah.
But and I find that with brands as well. So I don't know what you think to that.
Well, no, you're right. Yeah, definitely. This range of clubs that's coming out, they're all associated driver through to irons.
Yeah.
So as soon as the Mavrik and the SIM irons
and the Speedzone.
Yeah, and as soon as the driver goes out, these would tend to go as well.
So if you go buy yourself a full set of Taylormade SIMs, it's perfect for a year.
Yeah.
But then what? Exactly.
Whereas to a certain extent, the Ping, they've managed to separate the irons from the driver ranges. So whilst the naming's similar, you don't get that same sort of. You have to have both.
Yeah.
So this looks better than the Cobra.
Okay.
Looking down at it, it's sort of along the same sort of shape and size as the Ping club for me. So I prefer the look.
I tell you what, you're swinging really well at the moment.
I was a bit slappy though.
A bit slappy, but we're spinning at 7,000 and it's a 156, so
Yeah.
I'd be quite happy with that. Interestingly, what would you expect your 7-iron, say, to carry, your I210?
About 165.
Yeah? Okay.
In the studio, anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Outside, it's nowhere near that.
And that's the swing I'm really interested in testing for you. 11 degrees left, 4 right on the next tee, but it's spinning, I mean, it's spinning at 7.4, which you've come across it, so it could do, but it's still 155. Because really, these irons are associated with forgiveness, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I've not seen any forgiveness yet.
Well, I mean, dispersion, definitely, but I think numbers, like 155 carry with a shot like that, you're still not going to be as far away from the green as, say, if you did a real small head and it carried 135 but still went as far right.
No, true. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, let me take this one first. Interesting.
You see, is that one that, and so we did a video, or I did a video with St. John over in Germany, and he'd say to me now that that shot is probably worse than the 155.
Yes.
Because it's pointless.
It is.
If you're playing a 165 shot, not only have you gone left, but you've gone 15 yards long, and it's probably going to bound on more than that because it's only spinning at 5,000.
Well, I'm probably in the ditch or the stream beyond the green.
Absolutely. You could even be on the road. You could, you know what, Mark? You could have caused a serious accident there.
Could have done.
Carbon copy of the other one.
Tell you what, I just have no feel at all.
And that's interesting because that's what I found with the M5 irons and M3 irons. So the similar kind of thing. Obviously, when they had the M5, M3, M6, M4 drivers, we had the same irons, and I found the feel on them just wasn't good, and that's why the P790 was so successful.
Yeah, there's just nothing. I mean, all right, I've hit 3 of similar 155 sort of length, but spin rates and directions and so on.
That's definitely been the least consistent so far, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, so that's it's a little disappointing for me. Yeah. Actually, I was hoping that would feel better.
All we want's honest feedback, Mark. We don't want anything else than that. Nice spin number, but not necessarily the distance you'd want.
No, that's right.
Although saying that, with the Cobra, weren't we quite happy with a one? Yeah, we were quite happy with a 180 something, weren't we?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, around 190 is quite a nice length. I know it was the first swing, so I didn't try and get after it at all.
How does the weight of these feel?
It feels a bit better.
Yeah, actually. It's interesting. It's a similar shaft. We're getting a common theme with all the clubs, depending on how you swing it. So what I'm really enjoying here is that when you swing it well, you are getting a decent spin rate with
Yes.
Yeah. So the playable, sort of. If you don't swing it well, you don't get the spin rate, but then that's pile of error, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Let's have a look at the Mavrik. So these are 6 and 8 iron, not 7 and 5 iron, but with the lofts.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have a look at them.
Actually, they're going to be stronger lofted, aren't they? So really, but anyway. So do you want to go 8 first?
Yeah,
first. Two, is there? So spoiler alert, Mark, I'm going to ask you to grade them all and put them in order on a podium after this, so get your thinking cap on.
My first reaction is the offset on that head is enormous in comparison to the others.
Let's have a look.
That might or might not be the case. I suspect it's emphasised by the sheer size of the head at the top there.
It's a big old head, that. That is a big old head.
Enormous.
And then if you think there is the Mavrik Max irons as well, which are even bigger.
So that could well influence my swing thoughts.
Yeah, put you off a little bit.
My, is that heavy?
I mean, that's a fantastic golf shot. I would like your opinion on the sound of that.
clicky.
What club's that?
This is the 8. It was a little clicky.
That was the 8?
Yeah. The strike, obviously the strike was good. The line was good.
170 yards.
6,000 spin.
Yeah.
Solution 2, it's a bit too far for me to hit.
Yeah, because if that's the 8, if we call the 9 iron a 155 club and the pitching wedge a 140 club, you're absolutely screwed below that, aren't you?
You are.
10 iron territory, that. I mean, that's better.
That's better. 6.5 spin on that one.
But then the consistency comes into question a little bit, doesn't it? I know it's only 2 shots, but...
Yeah. Well, it does. It does. But the distance has been the same.
Yeah.
For both.
Tell you what. So how do you feel about the offset now you've hit 3 almost line balls in a row?
Looks pretty good, doesn't it? Looks pretty good on that.
What about the offset on the 6 iron? Very neat those. I usually throw them all over the place. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, it's still obvious, but it doesn't seem to be quite as extreme as the other time was.
But interestingly, you've not hit any right.
No. Again, it's that low spin, isn't it?
It is. What's that? That's 4.5. It's 190 yards with, 185 yards carry with a 6 iron.
Yeah.
It's basically performing like the other 5 irons were, really.
Yeah.
And it's straight again, isn't it? I know it's got a bit of curvature on it, but it's not
Straight.
offline.
Wow.
Performance-wise, I'll tell you what, interesting, I know we've not covered 4 irons in other ones, but we have got a 4 iron in this. I'd love to see you hit that. Because that could be something what might go in the bag even if it's not a part of a set. If the way you're hitting these...
True. So as clubs and sort of comparisons, this is this and the Cobra, for me, are good, long, strong, consistent clubs. Personally, of the 4, I would probably go for the Ping because I got a little more feedback on it.
Yeah.
But for a nice, good, easy set, the Mavrik or the Cobra Speedzone at the moment.
Yeah. And the Taylormade, no, primarily because of the feel.
Yeah, Taylormade, there was no feel. It was just clunky. I really struggled with it. And yeah, right, it was the 3rd one that I'd hit, so I was a bit more tired, but then this is the 4th one.
Yeah. And that's why, so a lot of people might say you should be hitting more balls to test these clubs, but if you hit a lot of balls, you get tired.
Yeah.
So there's no way you'd test golf clubs and buy golf clubs on the basis of hitting 1 million golf balls. You couldn't do it.
Not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. So the positive thing about this is that head does not look like a 4 iron. Well, not bad for the first one.
No?
Not bad for the first one.
That was another poor strike. That was bottomy, wasn't it?
Strike, but it's gone straight.
Dispersion wise, they win hands down for me today.
Dispersion they do, absolutely. Yeah.
Tell you what, Mark. 230 yards. I think there's another video to come here, isn't there?
Why bother with drivers?
So, Mark, if I had to ask you now, sum up all of these. So, and we can't really stress this enough as well. There are more irons on the market than this. We could quite as easily have done this with 10 different sets of irons.
Easily.
And people do tend to comment on these videos saying, where's that iron, where's this iron, you could have included this, you should have included that. But I thought we pretty much had you covered with these today.
I agree. It's all down to personal preference, isn't it?
Yep.
But every time you go for a new set of clubs, it's what you prefer, or it should be what you prefer, and what feels right for you.
So, 4 different clubs. I'm going to ask you to pick a winner in 3 different categories.
Okay.
Performance, looks, and feel. So feel is heavily associated with sound, so we'll go feel/sound. But performance first.
Performance, I think I'd have to put the Mavrik.
And if you'd have gone anything other than the Mavrik, I would have ended the video
ahead
now.
of the Cobra.
Yeah. But what about the others? Oh, so the Mavrik wins performance.
Yes, yeah. Mavrik wins performance.
Looks.
Looks, for me, definitely the G410.
And that's not
the G710.
The G710, the black one. And that's not changed since the beginning of the video, which is when people do walk into a pro shop and check out the shelf feel. What about feel?
Feel, well, again, it's down to the ping.
Okay.
The other 3 clubs were much heavier, much solid, punchy.
And that could be down to Ping's AWT shaft, I think.
It could be, it could be, but for me there was more feel coming back from that particular club.
Mark, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, James.
Guys,
really good.
We really hope you've enjoyed that. That is a different sort of way of filming these videos, isn't it? And I think that's a much more beneficial way, not just for you, but for you guys at home as well. So we really do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, make sure you do hit that subscribe button below before you leave. Leave us a like if you enjoyed that content. Comment below, would you use any of these? Mark?
I would definitely use them if I could.
I think so, definitely. I think we're going to take a look at that 4 iron as well. But apart from that, we'll see you tomorrow.